Well, this is a nice looking crowd. I was performing at another club the other night. The place was totally empty. There was no one in the audience at all except one guy sitting in the front row. So I jokingly said, boy, if I was an escaped convict from Atlanta Penitentiary, this is where I would hide. No one would look for me here. The guy in the front row said, shh, you're blowing my cover. So anyway, it's always a big honor when Jerry asks me to say a few words about him. And when he asked me this time, I said, you know, Jerry, my stand-up has really improved now. Another comic gave me some advice. He said, this other comic said, Dan, I want to give you a little advice. You talk too quickly between jokes. You don't give people time to listen or laugh. So what I want you to do is take a bottle of water up here. Every time you tell a joke and hear a laugh, I want you to take a drink to slow down. But don't take the drink until you hear a laugh. And Jerry said to me, Dan, if you have to wait to hear a laugh, you're going to end up dying of thirst. So anyway, it is a big honor to be talking about Jerry. Jerry's more than just a friend to me. He's the person I go to for fatherly advice. And I recently went up to him, I said, Jerry, what do I have to do to start getting paid for telling my jokes? He said, Dan, do you have a daytime job you work at that you get paid at? I said, yes. He goes, tell your jokes at work. Then he said to me, he said, Dan, I want to ask you a question. I've seen quite a few bit of your stand-up. Let me ask you, do you steal your jokes from other comics? I said, no, Jerry, I write my own jokes. Why would you ask such a thing? He said, it was just a suggestion. Stealing them would help your stand-up. I said, Jerry, you mean writing my own jokes hurt my stand-up? He goes, no, not at all. It only hurts when you tell them. Anyway, so Jerry took me recently. He takes me to a few shows. I opened up for him one show. After my show, I went up to him. I said, Jerry, how'd you like my jokes? He said, you know, Dan, it's never too late to get a medical degree. After my, every morning I write a new joke, and I call Jerry up and tell him the joke, and just to see if he likes it. Today I told him a new joke, and he said, Dan, I really wish you'd grown up to be a monk. I said, why is that? He goes, they take a vow of silence. I said, Jerry, I've been thinking about quitting this stand-up comedy thing anyway. He said, Dan, how can you quit something you've never started? Then he said, no, Dan, I'm just kidding. There is a place in stand-up comedy for you. I said, where's that, Jerry? He goes, sitting in the audience. But anyway, Jerry is a comedy legend in Atlanta. We all have to admit, but he's more than that. He's a legend with the women. He's a legend with the women. I was sitting with him in Starbucks a few years ago, and across the way was this beautiful girl. He said to me, Dan, that's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. I must go talk to her. So Jerry walked over to talk to her, said, young lady, you're one of the most beautiful, devastatingly gorgeous girls I've ever seen in my whole life. Could I buy you a cup of coffee? She said, why, thank you, sir. Bruce Jenner and I had the same plastic surgeon. So anyway, but you know, I bumped into one of his old girlfriends the other day, and she said to me, you know, every time I see Jerry perform, he makes me feel 30 years younger. I said, why is that? She goes, because he's been saying the same jokes for the last 30 years. She was telling me one time they were lying in bed and Jerry said to her, what's up? She said, nothing, that's the problem. She said, Jerry, every time I look at your weenie, it reminds me of the company that makes Windows computers. Jerry said, why is that? She goes, because it's micro and soft. This is a roast, right? Jerry was passing by a doctor's office the other day. He told me he saw a banner above the door that said Viagra, $1 per pill. Then he said, damn, that's really cheap because my girlfriend charges me $2. Another girlfriend said to me, Dan, one time I made love to Jerry one night. The next morning I woke up and I said, Jerry, you know, last night was real. I was not pretending, it was real. Jerry said, really, it was? She goes, yes, I really did fall asleep. Anyway, and Jerry told me the other day, he said, you know, Dan, I've discovered I think up my best jokes during sex. I said, well, Jerry, that means you only come up with one good joke a year. Anyway, Jerry is a comedy legend in Atlanta. He is a comedy legend in Atlanta. There's no doubt about it. And he's just saying, but he's more than that. He's a landmark. Jerry is as much of a landmark as Stone Mountain, Coca-Cola, or the Big Chicken. In fact, he's such a landmark that we need to build a statue of him and put it right outside the punchline. Right? The punchline. And we should do the statue. It should be of like one of his famous poses that we've seen many times, like. Or maybe, oh, you remember this famous one. You remember this famous one. You can't forget this one. You can't forget this one. Let me get the little teeth here. Gotta get the teeth. Or this pose. Go dogs. Or this most famous pose. You can't forget this one. Go dogs. Anyway, thank you, Jerry, for being a good friend, and thank you, Jerry, for being a friend to everyone in Atlanta that's making us laugh. And now I'd like to introduce the next comic. I hope you all remember seeing him perform in his underwear. This is not underwear, it's boxer shorts. No, it's athletic shorts. But anyway, right now I want to introduce the next guest. Give it up, he's straight from rehab. He's a traveling touring comic. Give it up for Mr. Greg Langford.
Didn't realize I was amazed to get up to the stage tonight. Y'all give it up for Jerry tonight, his birthday.